Happy hump day, everybody. It feels like fall here. I look like I'm dressed for fall, but it is a beautiful day. I'm trying to enjoy the sunshine and working from outside as much as I can. So we're going to talk a little bit about, well, first of all, I've got a workshop happening next Thursday at 7:30. So like things that I've been hearing a lot lately, like, do you ever think that no matter how hard you try to eat clean, how much you exercise, like sometimes your body just won't cooperate, right? I always laugh and I say sometimes I felt like I'd be outside swallowing air and I'd put weight on. I'd put a pound on. You just feel like you're stuck, like your brain just feels foggy or you're not sleeping. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about why your body pushes back and tease you about a couple of things I'm going to talk about next week in my workshop. So the hidden problem, and again, I say this all the time, has nothing to do with willpower, right? It's not about chasing the diet. There are no quick fixes. I can't say that enough. There are no quick fixes. That detox isn't the answer. The new supplement that everybody's talking about on social media, that's not going to get you what you want, right? It's all the hidden imbalances, the hormones, the minerals, the inflammation. And this is all stuff that traditional medicine, your doctor does not check. I'm telling you guys, after, I don't know, let's do the math, right? Nursing school, 4 years of college, then finishing a BSN, then almost 3 years of grad school to be a nurse practitioner. The 18 months to do a holistic PhD, a doctorate in holistic nutrition and functional medicine, plus all the hours of functional medicine training that I have had. The last 2 years in my doctorate and in my functional medicine training, I have learned more about traditional labs than I ever learned in my years of traditional medicine practice or my years of traditional medicine education. The deep dive, the connecting the dots. There is no dot connecting in traditional medicine. And in connecting those dots and looking deep at labs and connecting all of those labs together, like looking at your 5 individual white blood cells, not the total white blood cells, looking at what those 5 white blood cells are doing, connecting them to a fasting insulin level, to your A1C, to your blood sugar, and then tying it into your cholesterol, your thyroid hormones, more than just the TSH, and any inflammatory, CRP, homocysteine. That is what tells me the story. And that is what gives me all the information. So I can look at those normal blood labs you have, and I see a totally different picture because I know what I'm looking for, right? Again. Anyway, so when we connect all of these things, we see the imbalances. And it's kind of like, driving your car. I always have car analogies. And I know nothing about cars. But driving your car with the parking brake on, okay? You're trying to lose weight. You're trying to do all the right things. You're trying to eat right. You're trying to find the right supplements. You're trying to keep everything healthy, exercise, all of that. And guess what? You're not going anywhere because that parking brake is on. And no matter what you do, you can't get that brake to release so you can actually move forward, right? So when we do the deep dive and look at all of these things and connect all the dots, we start to release that parking brake and you can start to slowly make progress. So, let's talk about magnesium, because y'all know my favorite mineral ever. And it's even more so my favorite mineral since I have done this deep dive into mineral analysis testing. And again, amazes me at what it can show, what your hair can show, 3 months of what your body's been doing, right? So magnesium, over 300 reactions and enzymatic responsibilities it has, over 300. So when your body is low, guess what? You're not sleeping. You might not be going to the bathroom every day. Brain fog, just all of that stuff. Just that one mineral, if that's off, it's messing with your mood. It's messing with your gut, your GI responsibility, right? And your mood and your sleep. So they all tie together. And I say it's like a vicious circle, right? Because guess what? If you're not sleeping good, you have no energy and you're feeling horrible and you're in a bad mood. So everything feeds off of the other. Everything's connected. That stubborn weight, that horrible mood, the restless sleep, those are all connected, because when you're not sleeping, your cortisol drives up. That puts the brakes on weight loss. So it's all connected. Next week in my workshop, I am going to break things down a little bit more. I'm going to give you a 3-step formula that I like to use it's the starting point. And again, what I do in my programs, we do deep dives. Okay. Hey, Kelly, we do deep dives. We are going, we're talking hormones, weight loss, metabolic health, and gut health. We are taking this huge elephant and we are breaking it down one bite at a time. So if you just take 1 or 2 things and you make those changes and you're consistent about those changes, then eventually you're going to have progress, right? And some of these things happen so quickly and you don't even realize it. You clean up the food, the anti-inflammatory foods. You start taking in more anti-inflammatory foods, omega-3s, more omega-3s, less omega-6s. That starts to decrease the inflammation that starts in your gut. You stop putting in highly processed foods, sugar, anything that turns into sugar, because that feeds that bad bacteria in your gut. And that perpetuates the inflammation. We want to calm that inflammation. Lots of ways to do it. So if you start by picking up 1 or 2 good habits and making them yours, and then another 1 or 2, all of this adds up. And you start doing this in 1 week, your brain fog is going to start to go away, because you're not fueling that inflammatory fire with the highly processed foods and the sugar. You're going to increase the fiber and good foods, whole foods that you're taking in. That is going to feed the good bacteria. You work on getting enough magnesium, enough fiber, enough water. Within 1 week, you're going to start pooping normally and regularly every day. Then you keep doing that. The bloat's going to be gone in 10 days. You work on lowering that cortisol and you're going to be sleeping better at night. So the whole cycle just starts to come into line when you add these little things one at a time. So I hope that from these lives, you're catching something, catching one little nugget and using it and moving forward with it. The thing that's frustrating is I think so many people think it can't be that easy. Well, it's not easy. And I say all the time, it's simple. It's simple, but it's not easy. Because you really have to take these little tidbits, add on to them, and make sure you're consistent with them. And it's subtle things that you're going to start to notice. And I hear it, I heard it today, I heard it yesterday, I hear it every day from my clients and patients, they say, I was on vacation this morning. One of my patients was away on an amazing trip. She came back, she said, it was wonderful. I had scones, I enjoyed myself. I only put 3 pounds on, but I started having Diet Coke that I haven't had in months. I started to have more sugar, and I got that metallic taste back in my mouth. And that's her trigger. We all have our own triggers, and once you recognize them, and once you start to know your body, you see what's going on. She was like, I couldn't believe that I could go back and I would notice things like that so quickly. Because she was only gone like 10 days or 2 weeks or something. And that's the thing. Once you know what you're dealing with and what your triggers are, and once you're away from them for so long, you kind of just forget, and you notice them again when they come back. For me, it's the inflammation. And years ago, I shared this with everybody. When I would get out of bed in the morning, my feet would hurt. And I would think, I'm not that old, but why am I feeling like this? And that's always the thing. So when I overdo it, vacation, holidays, it's going to happen. I get that inflammatory pain. My joints start to ache. And as soon as I clean things up a little bit, stop having, the treats, slow down on the carbs, even the healthy carbs. Sometimes, it's a slippery slope. Those portion sizes of carbs might get a little bit bigger. And once I start to reverse that, I start to feel better. So you really kind of have to, it's all about being intuitive and knowing your body. So when you're starting with these little steps, just recognize how you're feeling when you're doing really good and when you add these steps up. And then if you start to backslide, pay attention, because that one day that you don't go to the bathroom, or that one day that you start to feel bloated, that's a sign. The day you walk into the kitchen and say, why am I here? Why did I come in here? That's a sign. Once in a while, things happen, but that is not normal. We've got a saying, just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal. So just make sure that you don't get stuck in that trap. So mark your calendars. Next Thursday, it is September 4th, I believe, 7:30 in the evening. I'm going to do my best. We're going to keep it within an hour. I want to make sure that we go through everything. You get some value in the 30, 45 minutes, and then we have some time to answer questions. If you're live, I'm going to be giving some awesome bonuses. If you want to get a reset for the fall, if you want to start to turn your health around and start to get rid of those little things, the low red flags that aren't real happy, I'm going to be offering some fantastic bonuses if you want to work with me. And those are only going to be good live. I'm going to be giving away free stuff, and I think it's going to be pretty awesome. Otherwise, join us and learn a couple things. Pick up some tidbits. All this information is what you need to do to get started. Hey, Amy. All right. I will see you all Friday. I'm probably making some healthy payday bars. I made them after I made the ranch dressing on Friday. And man, let me tell you, delicious. Absolutely delicious. Ken and I ate them all weekend, and we had to keep reminding ourselves that we really weren't being bad. You'll love them. All right. Bye.